It is still iBrand Daybreak. Moving on to part of the focus for today, as President Bola Tinubu moves to amend Nigeria's tax laws and fiscal policy to improve government revenue. Analysts want the reform to adequately address the welfare of the average Nigerian to engender trust. Tinubu had on July 6th signed 4 executive orders on tax relief, and the following day set up a presidential committee on fiscal policy and tax reforms. Experts from both the private and public sectors will be responsible for various aspects of tax law reforms, fiscal policy design and coordination, harmonization of taxes and revenue administration. To have this conversation with us is Mr. Olusegun Okunade. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning, sir. You're welcome.
Good morning, Uche, and good morning, Josh. Good morning to all our viewers this morning.
All right, let's take a brief analysis, or should I say an overview of the various tax policies that we've had. The average man on the streets might not really understand the nitty-gritties of the background or the basics or whatever entails all this taxation that we're hearing. But when you hear conversations on the streets, you hear things like, even the soft drinks are now being taxed and all that. But can you give an explanation on that, or an overview?
Okay, first and foremost, let's understand that tax is a compulsory obligation of every citizen, and that is one of the legit way of government raising revenue. I would say, in all fairness, it's a two-sided platform. You as a citizen, you are obliged to pay, and on the part of the government, they are supposed to give back their social contract in providing basic amenities to people. So the only avenue where you need not to struggle on is an area of taxation, where everyone is expected to pay taxes, and it cuts across every span, both individual, corporate organization. For individual, you have your pay. I'm sure here you don't struggle to pay that. Before you get your pay, they would have slammed you that right from the finance department. And for every organization, you have the company taxes that they are expected to pay. You have the those that have retired and have assets that they are managing. The the capital gain tax is also one of them that they have to pay. You have the excise duty, which was object of serious discussion of late during the last administration, imposing 5% on carbonated drinks and everything. So taxes cut across every span of life, but I know the major thing everybody have actually been clamoring for is we pay the taxes. Government is not fulfilling the side, and it now gives a lot of lacuna in such a way that people try to evade tax, and they are not willing to pay, because they will tell you, if I pay taxes, government is supposed to give me electricity, they're supposed to provide health infrastructure, they are supposed to give us basic infrastructure, they are supposed to do the road. Well, I get some of those things done. So if I'm doing that, I'm paying the taxes. But I think with the current administration, delving into it, we are going to have a little change in what it used to be. And I have this to say that you saw the president during his inaugural speech that he intends to make sure that the business environment, have good, business sensitivity for them to grow. And that's why he reverted through the executive order certain things like the Finance Act that was signed May 28th. He has reverted it and said that will definitely come on board by September 1st. So it is to give allowance for certain organizations to prepare themselves in such a way that they will be able to integrate into it. I know everyone will clamor to say, we've been paying the taxes, but we are not getting dividend for it. That is the essence of the committee set up on the 7th. And I want to use that opportunity to congratulate my friend and brother, Taiwo Yedele. He's been an advocate of certain reforms that can make individual and businesses to grow. And I believe as we proceed, we actually highlight on some of these things.
Talking about taxes, revenue generation, you mentioned how that you understand that part of the conversation that would crop up as a result of these taxes is how that people pay taxes and they don't get dividends for it, which I can say is what we've experienced in the past. During his inaugural speech, the president said he wants to make business and the environment favorable for businesses to grow and thrive. But how do you put that side by side with multiple taxation that we already had on ground even before he came, and the new additional ones that are just being added, and all the local government taxes here and there, lots and lots of it? How does that make for a favorable environment for businesses to grow?
Yeah, I would say let's give kudos to this administration for identifying certain things in terms of the tax reform. The chairman of that committee set up by the president has been an advocate of first, the revenue authority being consolidated. Sure, you know, we have different streams: the federal inland revenue, the custom, and the NEMASA. There is this talk that we analysts are advocating for as is obtaining the same climb, where you have just one revenue board. The other arm can now be like directorate under them. So situation where you pay taxes to FIRS and it's being duplicated by the custom, which is actually compounding the cost of things, can really be narrowed down. And that's part of the things that this committee are definitely going to work on. You see, there are seriously multiplicity of taxes. We know that the federal will collect some, the states will collect same, and local governments will come in forms of levies on an average person. I'm sure you are aware, a few days back, the Federal Inland Revenue consolidated with MAMTAM, which is the informal sector, to now get those taxes away from them. So we are going somewhere is to streamline some of those collection of taxes in such a way that you can now say, okay, local government, you need not to disturb or bother anybody. Some of those taxes that is accruable to you, we are going to collect and have those sharing that we've been doing. So if you're able to do that, like we have in other climes, you see, there is one thing, one of the canon of taxation is for you to even project the taxes you are supposed to pay. You know, for corporate organization, you have maybe one or two that you know is fixed. You have your education tax, you have your company income tax that you know that is due and you must pay. But for those small and medium taxes, there are diverse levies that comes up here and there for people to pay. So if you're able to streamline it in such a way that the revenue agency that is saddled with the collection is able to have just a single channel, and for you as an organization, you know, or an individual knows that I have this tax to pay, I have the other taxes to pay, you know, put those things together and know the time that they are due. You can plan for it. You can even pay them in advance and know that, okay, well, if I make more, I may be consolidating on some of those things that we've actually done. And those are the things that this current committee that has actually been set up will definitely work on. We've had issues where several taxes and levies are coming up and it's impacting on the businesses, and the focal point of this committee is to make sure that they streamline that and know that every business organization have one. I'm sure you saw what happened in the custom at the ports, that the issue of taxes that was imposed, it affected the vehicles that were actually brought in. Tokumbo vehicle jacked up to as much as 40% pay and dropped their sales because people cannot actually afford to have those things. I read in one of the reports where a car where you normally cleared for $1 million, it's as high as 1.9 to 2 million. It's like doubling you are doubling the cost of duty. So that on its own will impact on the purchasing. And don't forget, our purchasing power currently is very low. So if you are increasing the taxes and the purchasing power is low, and you are not even providing the basic infrastructure that is expected, then you are stiffening the neck of the businesses. So I believe a lot is at hand on the part of this committee that is just being set up by the government. But one thing is there for us to do. There is one thing for the committee to make suggestion and policy that will drive it. There's another thing on the part of the government to have the willingness